howdy. Welcome. Hi. This is JavaScript Girl in a .NET World. I'm Alyssa Nykel, and today with me I have the amazing Sam. Is it Sammy Dip? Sammy Dip? Sammy Dip?
Some sort of a dip, but just Sam is good.
I always want to know how to pronounce people's handles. I'm really excited. Sam, we were at a conference together like 2 weeks ago in Boston, and Sam was like, I figured it out. I got the interop working between a JavaScript app and a Maui app that are sandwiched together in beautiful harmony. And I was like, shut up. And he started showing it to me, and then I had to like go and be part of a panel. And so I got like 2 screenshots in and was like, I literally like was taking pictures of his screen. It was hilarious. He was like, I'll just put the code on GitHub. I was like, shut up, Sam. I gotta have my pictures. Like, what if something happens to you? God forbid. And before you get to put the code up on GitHub, I at least have these photos, right? Like that's
funny.
But no, so you figured it out. And also, have you seen, I did an episode last week with Ed about it's like essentially, it's kind of like what we're talking about, but not really, because it apparently, I have been told, doesn't work with Maui, like not everywhere, at least for the web. Can you?
Yeah, I didn't catch the whole episode. I heard a little bit about what they were doing in .NET 7, but it's a different thing. It's it's not the same JS.
It's like essentially right, exactly. It's like instead of using JavaScript invocable and these same what are those signature things called? Attributes?
JS invocable, attributes.
So instead of using those, there's a different one that you can use. It's outside of Blazor.
Yeah.
But apparently I am not supposed to, according to Ed and the article, try to use it inside of Maui.
All right, let's look at stuff. You kind of sold it up, like you talked about harmony. I don't know how harmonious this is.
So exciting. Like
it's gonna be maybe a little hackish. So
hackish.
I'm not suggesting you go.
Hang on, we need to define hackish. I think if you smush 2 pieces of code together and they make something and it's deployable, what's hackish about that, Sam? Tell me. What?
I'm just saying this is just me playing things around. I'm not saying you go do production apps with it right now. I don't think there's anything stopping you, but very, very early days. So I understand what you're doing.
Oh, you published Napalm published first Maui blog. Yay! Can we see? Do they make a code baby? Always. They do make a code. It is actually my favorite code baby, what Sam's about to show. When JavaScript and .NET meet in such a wonderful, amazing, like we should all. I've had this question when I do this talk, Sam. People will like raise their hand and someone will hand them a mic and they'll like after my talk and they'll be like, why would you put a JavaScript app in that? And I'm like, we just went through this. It's awesome. Sit back down. You sit down.
Because you have to understand, like the whole selling point of doing Blazor was to get away from JavaScript, because like there are .NET shops and .NET developers who don't like to do JavaScript, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, a lot of if you go back, so before we start with Maui, I mean this is the web landscape as we see it. Okay?
ASP.NET is for web.
So if you're a .NET developer in the last 20 years, if you wanted to do web, this is where you started, right?
Why is the Blazor logo on the ASP.NET website? What's up with that?
Because Blazor is a part of ASP.NET.
Shut the front door. What?
It absolutely is.
You're hurting my head. Explain.
Okay, so ASP.NET is Microsoft's web framework for you to build web applications, and it has a lot of history. It started with like active server pages since the name ASP, and then it became ASP.NET, and ASP.NET runs on different versions of .NET. So up until Blazor, which was 2016-ish timeframe, late 2016, ASP.NET was mostly a server-side tech. I mean, you could do like AJAX calls back and forth between client and server, but you mostly rendered everything on the server side and you shipped it to the client side. So it was very productive, web forms and MVC and these things that me and Ed talk about, but it was mostly server side. So in the last 10 years, if you are a .NET developer and if you wanted to build a modern SPA web application, you had to kind of step outside of ASP.NET a little bit. A lot of folks kept .NET as their kind of their backend, like you served up Web API with .NET, but your front end was JavaScript, right? So Angular, React, Vue, JS, and jQuery, all the things. So that's where like Blazor comes in, and it kind of relieves .NET developers from the from being forced to do JavaScript if you didn't want to. But again, a lot of .NET shops have had investments in Angular or React, right? So those apps and those investments don't go away just because we have Blazor now. So that's my point.
Interesting. So is .NET 7 changing this, or is it just adding to it?
No, .NET 7 is the runtime, and ASP.NET and Blazor and Maui, everything just runs on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Napalm. I had to actually, because I'm in StreamYard, screenshot that, and then then in the screenshot, like use the copy text. But,
interesting.
But yes. So the iOS provisioning, isn't that like just one of the steps whenever you deploy to the App Store?
Yes, it is, but it's not free. So when we say we are inviting web developers into native mobile and desktop land, what we essentially mean is come and share our pain, because there's a lot of pain. I mean, each of those platforms, like iOS and Android, they all do their own thing. For iOS,
I mean, I paid like my $100, got my little license, went on my merry way. Are you talking about something outside of that?
No, that's all you need, though. But I mean, there is a little bit of drama, right? So you have to get
drama.
There is some drama, so you have to get your permissions and everything set up.
Oh no, it was a headache. Well, it was literally like the 1,200 steps to get your app deployed, and then Sam, they came at me and they were like, "You don't have Hasbro rights for My Little Pony," and I was like,
"Yeah,"
and he was like, "Put it on the App Store."
Yep, don't do that with Apple.
I'm still waiting on My Little Pony, the Hasbro team, to get back to me for those rights. I did request them, so just so you know.
Well, there's pain, there's coffee. Yeah. So essentially, what Napalm is talking about, like you need to get your certificates in order, and then you have to have a provisioning profile that you need to download and marry it up to your.
You're talking about the IPA that you put in Transporter? Is that what you're talking about?
No. So before you even build an IPA, you need a provisioning profile and a certificate with Xcode, so you can marry up your app with the exact set of permissions, and then you get to build your app and put it in the store. So
yes. It was King Gerald? He walked me through those steps.
Oh yeah. There are some steps in there. So anyways, this is ASP.NET. This is the web for .NET developers, and then Blazor comes in and lets you write C# front and back. So it's beautiful. So let's go back to where we started with .NET MAUI, right? So you wanted to, you are invested in JavaScript. You obviously are an expert with Angular, and you want to do a little bit of Angular with .NET MAUI.
Oh yeah.
So if we dive into .NET MAUI and you kind of see where things started up, I think it's user interface. Where do they have all the controls? Styles, tools. Where's the?
Sorry, I was taking notes. What?
I'm trying to find the Blazor Webview. Where do they have it? Controls, maybe. Views. There it is. Okay.
Hey.
So this is the thing that enables a lot of the magic that we are seeing, right? So essentially, inside of a .NET MAUI app, which is purely a native application, be it on desktop or on mobile, you are embedding this little control. It's called the Blazor Webview. And as we know, this Blazor Webview, it's a pretty smart control. It's a UI component, but it's an abstraction. So essentially, when your app is about to render this little UI component, it's going to ask whichever is the OS to see what browser the user has installed, right? So iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac, they will all have a browser, hopefully. And you're essentially asking for a browser component. And once you have that component, it's a browser without any of the shell or any of the, extra things. So it just is a browser component that knows how to render HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, even though it says Blazor Webview, it actually doesn't, have much to do with Blazor itself. I mean, it knows routing and all those things once you bring in Blazor.
Right.
In fact, wait, what?
Well, no, I said it. No, I said right, but also like without it, can we use like the JavaScript and vocal attribute and stuff? Like, do we have to have Blazor?
No, that's the beautiful part. So I was going to show you this other thing. So there's also the web view, right? So this is the same kind of component,
Okay.
but this is just for you to render static stuff, right? HTML and blah, blah, blah. Where the Blazor web view shines is it brings in a web view for sure, but it actually brings in a little bit more. And that's the piece that is what you want, because you don't want to do that heavy lifting yourself. When they say, let's run Blazor inside of Maui, it's actually bringing some extra pieces of baggage with Blazor, including the JS interop.
She's got baggage. Wait, are you going to show us how to not generate a hybrid app, but how to generate a Maui app and then add in the web view? Is that what you're going to show us how to do?
No. It's still a Maui app. It's still a Maui app. But I'm just saying we need the Blazor web view because we need a few things that it's doing.
Okay. All right. I'll trust you on this one. Let's go ahead and stick with her.
All right. So let me show you what I'm talking about. And I might actually have some questions for you because I don't understand Angular as well. I'm just, kind of blindly.
I'm so excited because after this, I am going to go because I really want to get, before my next .NET conference, I really want to get anything up on the App Store. And so I'm thinking, although I hear, Sam, that .NET developers have zero respect for a to-do application, and I have no idea why. I'm like, I don't know, like anyone in the JavaScript community who's has their demo to-do app in their favorite framework, right? So I'm like, what?
To-do apps are good.
Ed was just bashing me. He was like, why would you want a to-do app? It's so basic. You're so basic. I'm like, shut up, Ed.
That's just Ed being Ed, right? That's the thing.
So after this, I want to use what you teach me to do, even if it's just like, I don't know, using the camera or saving something to a file system. Like maybe I save the to-do items to the file system.
Yeah, anything you want.
So I cannot wait to see this.
Let me show you the Angular thing first.
So
all right.
excited.
So what did I call it? I think I called it Angular Interop. All right. So let's pull up an Angular app first. We have nothing Maui in here. Let's do an Angular app first. So this is essentially, is this readable? Can I make things any bigger? Very good.
That's good.
Okay. So this is essentially NG.
Napalm said we do weather service in .NET.
Yeah, we do weather service. We do weather service.
So yeah, you're inside your app component, and then you are essentially. Let's see, what are you doing here? Is this?
There you go. I'm trying to make things bigger, but not mess up my window. All right. So this is the standard way in which we start up an Angular app, right? So ng new Angular app, and this is what it spits out. So we got node modules, we got configurations of all types, packages and karma, and JSON files all over. But your source code is in SRC. And then inside of it is the app folder, which has all of your things, right? So what we want to do here is in my app TypeScript component file, right? So this is where the app is getting bootstrapped. We have things that are being brought in. So I have added just these two lines. And again, this is me trying to figure things out on Stack Overflow because I don't know Angular, but apparently this is how you write stuff. And apparently a lot of people take offense to the word any, or because this is, I think, like var. I was asking you.
Ish posh.
Yeah.
I don't really. I'm like, listen, we are trying to go so much further than getting our types correct today. Everyone can take a chill pill. Like,
yeah. So I found somebody else doing this trick, which I thought was nice. So let's just
So
say within my
you're
Angular
listening
app.
for like the window resize, I guess?
Yes, exactly. So I have two variables here, window width and window height. And when the app inits, so this is ng on init, right? This is where the whole app is initializing, I'm guessing.
With
right?
a component itself. So
Or with that
whenever
component.
the app component initializes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And is the app component like a base component that's initialized before everybody else? Like, is this where processing begins for the app?
It's currently the only component that you have in your application. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, but not always the case. And you can go into like index.html and you can see where it's like pointing to app root right there. And so essentially, like, let's say we had, a weather service, and inside our weather service, we had different, like maybe countries, and each of those countries was a component, maybe like, so then you would have your outer parent weather component that's going to load into app root, and it's loading these child components. So ng-on init is going to be like, it's this lifecycle hook that you have access to for every single component, whether it's a child component or a mama component, or like for, in this case, the only component. So it's just essentially when that component itself is initializing. So
okay. All right, so in this init function, we're going to initialize the window width and the height to just being the window. So now here's my question. This window, this is the JavaScript window, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So Angular has direct access to a JavaScript window. Am I right? Okay.
Angular has, anything. I sometimes have written just raw JavaScript here.
which is exactly what I'm about to do. So you might freak out a little bit.
No, man, let's do it.
Okay, I don't know enough TypeScript to be fancy. I know JavaScript,
which is weird because wasn't TypeScript invented by your people?
It was my people. It was my people, and then Angular said, "Let's just roll with TypeScript," and that's how it got popular. But anyways. So
you're welcome, JavaScript community. You're welcome.
I mean, it's just much more concise. This code reads better, and I get the type safety. But I have to look up syntax for TypeScript because I know how to do it in JavaScript.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I have the height and width. Okay, so these are pure JavaScript things where I'm just getting the height and width, and then apparently if I bring in the host listener as a core component. Your people.
It's okay. Yes. So I am one of you, but when I'm on with someone who's been doing it longer, I get to blame them. That's how that's them's the breaks, right?
That's Alyssa's way of saying we're old. Yeah.
No, it's my scapegoat,
All right. So apparently with the host listener, I can listen to the window resize event, and I can fire this off. So I can listen to the width and height all the time.
Let's see the HTML.
Yes. So if HTML? What?
HTML. HTML.
Oh, the HTML? Okay. HTML. Hold on one sec. Let's try this. This might take a while, or maybe not. No, it's good. Its localhost 4200. Okay.
Your terminal is giving me anxiety because I have a new MacBook coming.
Why?
And I have to do everything. Like, I don't know how. I forgot how to install .NET. Like, and all of does npm come on a Mac by default? Do you have to install npm? I don't remember. It's been years.
Yeah, it's all easy. .NET is just a folder. Anyway, so here's our Angular Interop app. It's just called Interop because that's why the name is.
And
this is all that I did. So the screen width and screen height are right there, and I have a listener. So when I resize this, you can see that thing is changing, right?
Yes.
Which is exactly what we want. So this is all JavaScript, and this clearly works, right? So what if we wanted to take this app? Now, there are some extra things in here that I'm going to show you. But we want to take this exact app and put it inside of Maui. So let's look at your HTML, like you said.
HTML.
All right, so here's my, I don't need the index, I need the app component, HTML. All right, so what am I doing here? Okay, so this is all the stuff that paints the first page of your Angular app, right?
Why'd you leave that stuff in there? Why did you delete it?
I want to do as minimal as I want to do, or as I can in the Angular world. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's just a backspace button, Sam. It's just
But it's a nice shell. So it already
All
had
right.
like a couple of things. So I'm just adding on.
Fancy
So
bits.
here's my div tag. I got 3 li components: screen width, screen height, and then device info. Now, this screen width and height, they're just married directly to the variable, right? And this is where like TypeScript is nice because like it can do data binding just directly. So I found this was nice. But then when you click on those 2 buttons, I have 2 extra buttons. And
It's
I
more
actually
of an
don't have
Angular thing, but we can give
which one?
TypeScript the nod.
Oh,
The
this one?
binding.
Okay,
Yeah.
the binding. Okay, so yeah, it is. It's nice.
Because I was there back in the day when that worked and TypeScript wasn't a thing. And I did it with
I see.
CoffeeScript. And you all can hate on it, but I loved it. So
yeah, no, it works. It works beautifully.
So show us what device info is, though. You're
Right.
plugging
So
that in.
I'm just realizing I don't have the JavaScript file for this in this one here because like I always thought the JavaScript belonged to what I was doing native, but I'm going to show you the JavaScript file in just a second. So I got 2 buttons here, one that says check number, and one that says get device info, and they both on click they invoke another JavaScript function.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so JS methods. Where the frick is that coming from? Like, is that in your component file right now? Like, are you injecting that?
No, and I can easily drop it here, but I just
prove it. It's not in your component.
So because it doesn't work here because I haven't added it here. But let me show you the same project. Okay, let me back up. Now let's take this exact app that's Angular that is meant for the web. Now let's put it in .NET MAUI.
I was being called old for my CoffeeScript. Yeah, like you all think you're old with your ASP.NETs. Yeah, well, I used to write in CoffeeScript. Okay, and I liked it.
All right, so now I have another project here that's called Maui Angular Interop, right? And now let's open up this one. So now this is a .NET MAUI project. So this is all native, nothing web about this. So you can see Maui program.cs does its normal Maui thing of initializing the ES5JS. Oh, okay.
That is a flex.
That is a flex. I remember XHTML.
Oh yeah.
And I also remember.
I don't know what DHTML is.
Dynamic HTML.
It's like how old is that? Like how long ago was
it's old. Okay, let me age myself here. So
what?
I did a thing at one of my gigs where Napam, you might remember this based on how old it is. There was a thing called XSS like early days of CSS, but you could take you could take like a XML or some other document, or there was an XSLT style sheet that spit out dynamic HTML. So that's what I did for a while.
How
for
cool.
one of my gigs. Yeah. Anyways, so we are inside of our Maui project, right? And this is doing all the Maui stuff. Notice how it's adding the web view, because this is essentially a project where I did .NET New Maui Blazor. So it's using the Blazor template inside of Maui. So that's how you get some of the Blazor goodness with it. So if you scroll up, you'll see that there's a pages directory in here that has all of the Blazor components. Like it's meant to be running with Blazor, except we don't want to do Blazor, we want to do Angular, right? So your pages is there, your shared directories have like layouts, you have a www root, all the Blazor things. So we come in here and we take a look at what this is. So here's my main page.saml, and this is, I haven't touched any line of code here, but this is the Blazor web view. So our entire app is going to be a web view. I wrote XML schemas. There you go. Yeah, I wrote XML schemas too.
You guys are so fancy. You're like, oh yeah, I did that.
No, we're just old. Okay, so here's the Blazor web view. So you will get this at the moment you start off a .NET MAUI project with Blazor in it. We're not doing anything different. This is the same Blazor code where it's supposed to go find the first Blazor component, except we don't want it to do that because we have replaced this index.html. This is the index.html that Blazor wants you to use. We just renamed it to be Blazor index.html, right? So here's Blazor's HTML DOM. So we have the head, and it's marrying up a few things, and there are a couple of things it's doing here. So just like what Angular did, Blazor has this div tag. You see that?
Yeah.
This is the div tag inside of which your entire Blazor app is rendered, right? And then it has a script tag where it's bringing in a webview.js. This is a JavaScript file that's generated by the Blazor framework when you do a build. And it's just a local file that's dropped, and you're supposed to, push it up when you.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, we can delete everything except for line 25 and
we are
the
not
web
even.
view.
Yeah, we are actually not even using this index HTML. This is the Blazor index HTML. I just wanted to show you what
Right,
it's
but
doing.
isn't that script tag needed? I think we need that one, don't we?
Yeah, we do need that.
Okay.
So let's now look at the index HTML that I am using.
See,
which
unlike
is,
you, I like to go into a project and be like, what's the maximum amount of stuff we can delete at this point in our life?
yeah. I mean, the only reason I brought it in is I had a ready-made index HTML file. So this is the one from the Angular project. So I've done an ng build.
Yeah.
And in my .NET MAUI project, I have dropped these files, which is what Angular gives you, right? So your main, your polyfill, your runtime, your styles, all of that is right there. Now,
okay, so 15 is that same one on 25, and it's needed. It's needed so that we have the web view, right? That's what that's provided, and then 16 is no.
Okay,
not,
so you have the web view right from here.
No,
right?
but like, would it work if we deleted 15 and 16?
No, it won't. Because what it does behind the scenes is when you just run a straight up Blazor app inside of MAUI, you're not seeing a couple of things that Blazor is doing. One is right in here when you inject the web view, it's trying to render the Blazor app. It is bringing in routing. It's bringing in all the pieces that Blazor needs to run the app. And included in it is the JS Interop. So this line here, if I go back to the Blazor index HTML file, you're talking about line 25.
Yeah.
This is part of that glue, right? So you absolutely need that web view because that's what's going to give you that interop.
I see.
But I have also
I was running into, I did the replacement like you did, but I did not add any script tags. And
you need that.
It was not. Okay, I see.
And I also discovered that there is also something else that Blazor does. So this is the div tag inside of which Blazor is rendering, right? I don't need that technically because I don't care about Blazor at this point. I'm ready to render my Angular app. But if I take that div tag away, Blazor is not doing some of the things it's meant to do, right? This is why I said it's a little hackish. So take a look at my index HTML, right? This is all the Angular stuff, right? So the meta, the link, and all that stuff. In here, I have several things in here. First is this app-root. This is what I get from my Angular app. This is where my Angular app would render. But I'm sticking in an extra empty div tag, which is not rendering anything. Like there's just nothing in it, right? But
like ever. Like, does it?
Like ever. No, there's nothing in it. Because like what it essentially tries to do is come down here and like if this was a Blazor app, you would essentially come down here to one of the layout pages and try to render all of the layout stuff. This is all empty. So I'm never rendering anything inside of it. But turns out I do need that div tag because without that, Blazor doesn't finish its bootstrapping and I don't get access to JS Interop. So what is
I am so going to try this out because I want to like comment it out and see the JS Interop break.
So this thing that we are talking about, okay, let's talk about this.
Could you put ID on AppRoot?
Yeah. Well, as long as it's a named ID and as long as it doesn't mess up your Angular app, then you're fine. But it does need a div tag. Okay. So this whole JS Interop, that's not a Microsoft site. Microsoft site, maybe.
That's some random Joe Schmo site.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff written up. I mean, if you look at any of the documentation on JS Interop was something that was meant to work with Blazor. So this is the thing that you don't want to reinvent because it's complicated. Between .NET and between JavaScript, like there's a wall, right? And essentially you're trying to talk over the wall and you have to flatten everything. So everything needs to be serialized before you make a function call and the other way around, right? So this is what you don't want to reinvent. You want to use what Blazor already has, right? So that's where the web view essentially gives you that. But it sounds like it needs a div tag that is named app for Blazor to end up, loading it. So I'm just using an empty div type, right? So that's my setup. And then I'm bringing in this JavaScript file, which is ending up here in my Maui project, but it can very well end up in my Angular project. So here's the JavaScript file. And again, I don't know exactly if this is something I'm doing right, but apparently this is a way of defining lots of JavaScript methods. So Alyssa, explain what this line does, like JS methods. Like I'm creating an empty array. Is that what I'm doing here?
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's an object, but you have a problem with empty objects? I'm all about empty objects.
Okay, so I want to define two functions here: check number and like grab device info. Why am I having to define them off? Like, is it just like a placeholder empty object, so it's easier for me to refer to them?
I guess so, because then you're going to be able to pass them together. But what? Because so you built these both, check number, grab device, and then you're just passing them. Because technically, you should be able to just do them separately, but they would not be. Do you want them to be together? I guess you need them.
I guess where I copied this code from, or at least the JS methods thing, that's where
they wanted them together. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So here's my JavaScript, okay? And you can rewrite this in TypeScript. I just don't know the syntactical sugar to do that. But so I'm just writing JavaScript. So here I have a check number, right?
Yep.
And the check number, and then I have a device info. So what is it that I'm trying to get to? Let's actually run this app.
Hang on, where is this living? He's living in the root folder.
This guy, he's living in www.root, the JavaScript file. He doesn't need to live anywhere specific. You can just, as long as you can point to it, you're fine.
I'm so confused because could we put him in our? So confused. Could we put him in our Angular application?
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
Would it still be? Are you sure? Because then once we build. I'm like, the confusing part for me is like, you've got your little JavaScript Angular app and he like builds and compiles and then gives you the hey, we're done. We're ready to ship.
Yeah.
hey, we compile. And then you're ready to ship.
It doesn't matter.
But then I feel like your methods right now are living outside of that build process. And I wonder if that has to happen in order for people to talk to Maui. I don't
know. Because this is pure JavaScript. And I mean, these strings don't really mean anything. As long as your Angular app has access to this, you should be fine.
Okay.
So let me show you what this is trying to do. So let's actually run our .NET MAUI app.
How does our Angular app know about this? How did
okay, hold on.
I'm so confused.
So it knows because Blazor is doing its thing, right? So we are bringing in a couple of things. So here's our container first. This is our Blazor web view. This is what knows how to render web stuff. But while the Blazor app was being bootstrapped, we also brought in the web view, right? And we gave it this ID. So Blazor does a little bit of magic behind the scenes to give you that JS interop. So JavaScript knows how to call .NET and .NET knows how to call JavaScript.
No, absolutely not. Show us in the Angular app where JS methods are being used. Did you inject them somewhere? This was the part that had me so hung up. I was like, how do I give it access to these bits that are outside of itself?
Okay, I'm going to have to pull up two different things, but let's do that. So where were we? We were in Angular Interop, right? Okay, good. I'm going to get confused now. I will have two VS Code windows, but you can keep me straight. So here's the Angular app.
No, he actually figured out the interop, and he is showing me, but I am stopping him from showing me because of my confusion. But don't worry, he will show after Alyssa is not confused anymore.
No, it's not a replay. You can see me fail in real time. It's not a replay. Okay. All right. What? So here's the Angular app. Okay. In the Angular app, this is all that I have, right? So I have two buttons, one that says check number, one that says get device info. They're just calling into JavaScript methods.
This right here is where your black magic is happening. I swear, if you're not passing that in somewhere, I call shenanigans. Like where in your TypeScript file, are you defining JavaScript methods and saying, look in this file, or like importing it somewhere? Like
okay, as long as the HTML here has access to that JavaScript file, you can invoke a JavaScript methods. You're inside of an Angular app. You can invoke JavaScript all day. because none of these are
What?
doing anything.
What
Okay,
is
so
happening? Okay.
what am I doing here? So I am inside of an HTML view, right? And I am just invoking a JavaScript function. It's just
that the
just
component
JavaScript.
shouldn't know about. Like, what are you doing? You're breaking the world, Sam. Go to the TypeScript file. I have to see for myself.
This TypeScript file.
Yeah.
There's nothing in it.
Scroll up. Scroll up.
There's nothing.
What the frick? What the frick?
Okay, when this thing is running, when this HTML is being rendered, we are giving it the JavaScript file reference. So we're just calling a JavaScript method here.
We're just calling, yeah, like we can just call any JavaScript method from any old JavaScript file. It doesn't matter if the component is like knows about it, or if even the entire application knows about it. Just
are you saying it's a security risk that a component doesn't know about a JavaScript function that it's calling?
I mean, it makes me feel icky, but if you're saying this is totally fine, then I'm going to stop freaking out.
So all we are doing here from HTML, like forget that this was an Angular app. Let's just think about this as an HTML file, okay?
Yeah.
Inside of an HTML file, you are just calling into a JavaScript method, right?
Okay.
I don't know exactly.
I didn't think that would work. I swear to you, I thought the Angular app would be like, who the frick is this? I don't know about him. You didn't inject him into me, so how do I know about him? Like,
and you're probably right, because if I run this app Angular as it's meant to be on the web, it still doesn't have the JavaScript file. And I mean, I can try giving it the JavaScript file here, but I'm sure you can call that method, right? I mean, is there a big deal in just calling JavaScript from inside of?
I don't know. I've never done this before. I always thought it was like, bad, Alyssa. No, like you follow the rules in Angular. Bad. Like I've never tried to call a random JavaScript method. Like, does it work? Does it?
It works.
Oh my God, it works.
What we are doing here is calling these two functions, right? So the HTML file, all it knows is I'm calling check number, I'm calling grab device info.
It doesn't know like what right there inside. At the same level as like the root of your app. Like he's just sitting there. Oh my God, this is so funny. Sam, you have to show us.
Now.
Wait, it works?
It works. So now the real black magic is what happens inside of the JavaScript.
Because what we've just witnessed is just totally fine, normal, everyday magic.
All right. So inside this JavaScript method, let's just say check number. We're trying to check if a number is even or odd, right?
Yeah.
Inside of it, the first thing I do is .NET. You try doing that inside of a regular web app, it's going to melt because it just doesn't know what the heck .NET is. Do you understand?
Hold it. You just said something important. If I try to do that where it melts?
If you try doing this in a straight up web app,
yeah,
that has nothing to do with .NET.
Yes.
It is just purely a HTML or an Angular app. It doesn't know what .NET is.
Yes, exactly.
.NET,
right.
That's an object.
I have tried. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
But it's because I don't know the right thing to do, right? I feel like there's got to be a way.
So guess who's giving you this .NET object
to
call methods on?
Do not say Blazor.
It is Blazor. It is this little puppy here, the Blazor glue that's bringing in the JS interop. Blazor is the one. You don't have to, but without Blazor, you have to invent the JavaScript Interop all by yourself.
And everyone talks about how Blazor does this magic deserialization, but with the latest .NET 7 features, which we're not allowed to use in Maui, blah, but with the latest .NET 7 features, they actually walk you through those like lines of code to deserialize. It's like 4 lines of code. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. Bring it on. I can deserialize some JSON. So anyways.
Do it yourself. I haven't tried the .NET 7 stuff, and I don't know why.
Well, everyone keeps saying that you can't do it for anything outside of web, but I'm going to try. I'm just going to try.
How about I say this? Like, I haven't tried it. So how about we say that you're not supposed to use it within Maui until Sam has tried it.
Until Sam has tried it. And it hasn't exploded, which we'll find out. Okay.
As long as it's not become melted cheese, we're good. We're good.
All
right. So we are inside of our Angular Maui app. No, we are inside of our just Angular app. So hold on. I'm going to go back in here and get inside my Maui Angular Interop, right? And now let's fire this up on a native build. Let's say iOS or where are my stuff? Oh, there it is. Let's do a Mac build, okay? So we're running the .NET MAUI app on desktop as a Mac desktop application. But remember what we have done. We have taken out all of the Blazor stuff, and all we have is a Blazor web view, and we are pointing to the index HTML that is created by my Angular application. But we do have that extra JavaScript reference. So here you have the same thing. You see that? The screen width and height. Now you're a desktop, but that thing still works because the desktop app is being rendered inside of a browser web view, right? So when that web view's dimensions change, the screen width and height change.
Do you have another piece that you didn't show us? That's like a C# file that's doing something?
Yes. I haven't showed you that. I haven't. But I'm just talking about the screen width and height. Do you see that? So the screen width and height.
No, it looks amazing, but I feel like we're missing something here.
No, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So all I'm trying to say is now you are a .NET app. You're running on desktop, but it doesn't stop you from calling JavaScript because that window width and height, that window element, that's a JavaScript element, right? So we are asking literally the web view to say, how much width do you have? How much height do you have? So I can spit that out. So within a .NET MAUI app, my Angular doesn't break. I can still call into JavaScript, and I can get the window dimensions from my Angular app. Okay, so you with me so far?
Yeah, now, I mean, it's pretty black magic-y, but keep going.
Now, let me show you where that this gets even more black magic.
Yes, this is the part we're interested in, the cray-cray part.
Now we are in JavaScript, right? And this JavaScript file can live in your MAUI project, it can live in your Angular project. It doesn't really matter as long as at runtime you have that .NET object that you can call methods on. This .NET object is your hook to have an object that knows about things in the .NET world that you can call from JavaScript.
I just have to figure out how to give my Angular app that object at runtime, but I think
you don't have to. Well, I mean, if you let Blazor do its thing, you will have it.
Absolutely not. Alyssa's entire goal in life is to not let Blazor do its thing.
Well, and you're friends with Ed Charbonneau,
huh? I mean, friends can be friends and root for different teams, right? Like that's allowed.
All right, so this is pretty simple. Like once you have the .NET object, it's pretty simple. We are invoking two methods. Now, this may be a little clunky because apparently it needs to know the name of the assembly from where you are calling, and MAUI Angular Interop is the name of my app and my assembly, so I have to name that. And then beyond that, it's a little bit of magic strings. I'm calling the check number and I'm calling the get device info. Those two happen to be in a C# file, which is my app.saml.cs. This is the .NET MAUI startup class. And in here, I can bring in the JS interop right here. Now, this is the Microsoft one. If you figured out your way of doing interop, good for you. Then you don't have to use this. But since I'm in .NET, I can just use this attribute called JS invocable.
Yes.
And then here's my check number, which is counting even or odd, right? So let's try that first.
Here's the part that like really bends my brain. I get really stuck on where am I doing the logic, right? So like any piece of this, like you're checking the screen width and the height. Why is check number like defined in your CS file? Like the actual logic of it, like where is that where it belongs? Why does it belong there? Like, couldn't you define it back in the JavaScript file? Like,
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is checking a number is even or odd. You can do this in JavaScript or I don't know, maybe CSS can do it.
A certain piece of your logic has to be done on one side and a certain piece of your logic has to be done on the other. And that's the part where I'm really like, I have no idea how to draw out, like map out that.
So that check number does not belong in C#. I just happened to put it there because I was, fiddling with stuff. I was trying to make a call to a C# method, right?
What does belong in C#?
What does belong is the stuff that MAUI knows, the stuff that Angular does not know, because Angular is meant for the web. And now all of a sudden you are inside of a native desktop application. So I'll get to there in just a second here, but bear with me. Here's my check number. It's counting even or odd, right? Yes. So let's go in here. I don't know if you can see it. Here's my check number. And up comes a little prompt here. Which is saying, like, look at the prompt, which is so weird. It's just like, I'm a web app, but I'm kind of running on desktop, so I'm running on 0000. So I'll do a 4, and it's going to give me a prompt. Like, notice that it's saying, hey, I'm a .NET app, by the way, but 4 is even, and okay, right? So that
I love that.
the reason why it looks so weird is I'm using a JavaScript alert, right? So it literally is a JavaScript window that is being, displayed inside of a native app. So it kind of looks funky. You with me? Because all I'm doing here is when you hit that button, I am passing this into my C# object, which I totally don't have to. But I'm passing that number, and it's checking that number, and I'm getting the result, and I'm showing it to you in a JavaScript alert box. With me so far?
Yes.
Okay. You totally don't have to, and you should not be doing this from JavaScript to C#. But here's the thing that you do need C# for, and you need .NET MAUI for, because .NET MAUI, being a native technology, it knows everything about what your native stack is. You have access to like 50 plus APIs. You want to launch a camera, geolocation, accelerometer, all the desktop-y or the mobile things that you want to do from MAUI. MAUI knows that. It has a simple API built in. So when I get to the device
what are those
info,
called? Are they called?
They used to be called what was called MAUI Essentials, but it's gotten so essential that it's not there anymore. It's just baked in. You can call those APIs any day. All right. So when I want to get to the device info, right? So MAUI Interop JS is going to call into get device info, and it's going to try getting the result. Now, watch what I'm doing here. I'm literally going back into the DOM to grab that particular device ID, because that device result is sitting in my DOM in my Angular app here, which again is just HTML, right? So that's what that is the span that I'm grabbing, okay? Or a div, whatever it is that you want.
Phil thinks he's so funny.
Why don't you use Electron? It is not too soon, Phil. You absolutely could do all of this with Electron.
Oh.
Try doing Electron on a mobile app, on a mobile device.
No, Sam. Try doing Electron anywhere. It's
no. I think Electron gets a bad rap. I mean, as much as I'm a proponent of,
because it sucks.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. This right here, what you are using, VS Code, it's an Electron app. You just need to know how to do things right.
You're supporting Electron right now? Is that
I am.
Oh
because
my word! I thought I'd seen it all.
Electron is battle tested. It gets a bad rap, but you just need to know how to tame the beast. Essentially, if you don't need all of the deep OS integrations and all the things that you need on desktop, don't use Electron.
Absolutely.
But like your Teams app, your Teams is now kind of being native, but Slack, your VS Code,
my phone just like restarted itself. I think it heard you talking about Electron, and it was like allergic, like it had a reaction. It was like,
okay. When I call that get device info, we come back into our C# code, and it's just doing this. My device name is literally the name of the device, right? And then I have my
go back.
display.
Go back to the beginning. Yeah, right there.
It's a string I'm making up.
Okay, I'm with you.
So I'm just grabbing the device name, and I'm grabbing the device orientation. These are pure .NET MAUI APIs that give you information about the device that you're running this on, right?
Can you show us device in the docs?
Device in the
You've got like device info, device display. I assume those methods are somewhere in the MAUI docs. Like, where do you find?
They're in the MAUI docs.
They are.
Yeah. Can I show you this first, and then we'll dive into the MAUI docs. All right. So the check number was fine, but here the device info, it's empty. Right. When I click on that, now you say device name is MC, I think is something, then work from home, Sam MVP. That's the name of my desktop application, essentially.
This is so cool.
And then it says, hey, I'm running on portrait mode.
Is this on the hubs? I want to see if I can pull down my name. Like, I want to know if it knows. Like, it's the GitHubs.
Oh, the GitHubs. Okay.
No, not yet.
May not have it yet, but okay. I'll push it up. I got nothing else here, so I'll push it up. No worries.
Because that's like what you named your Mac, right? Or no?
That's the name of my Mac, essentially. Okay. Yes. But just to prove a point, let's. I don't know. This might fail, but let's try running this on iOS. Give me an iOS build. Because I don't want to type that thing.
Phil said it seems you fixed the yellowness of the screen. Did you have a yellow screen?
No, that's different because I'm on StreamYard right now because Alyssa is fancy. I'm on a browser. When I stream by myself, I'm going all hardcore because I do
You
OBS.
do OBS? Oh my
Mhm.
God, no.
And my Mac link back to the OBS kind of looks a little yellowish. So sorry about that. So it's trying now. It's now trying to rebuild the Maui app and put it on an iOS thing. Looks like
Have you done Android lately?
I have never touched Android because I don't like
You
Android.
refuse. I know, but you do Maui, so I thought
I
at some
refuse
point
to
you'd
do
try
Android.
it. It's so easy with
I know.
Maui.
All right. So same exact Angular app now working through Maui, now on iOS, now on Android. It's the same exact thing. So now if I hit get device info, I don't know if you can see
Oh
it.
my gosh, iPad Air 5th generation. That is so
Right.
cool.
Because it's a Maui API that you are
So
hitting.
cool. Yes, I love it.
Right. So in what I'm trying to show you is in just those two steps, you have .NET calling into JavaScript because like when the screen width and height, those are JavaScript things we are using, the window object. So .NET can call into JavaScript. In this case, it's just rendering
But
it
it's
anyways.
not just in like JavaScript. It's like it's then passing it into your built Angular app, and it's using those variables, like doing something with them. Like that is so cool.
And then you have JavaScript calling back into .NET to get the exact, device name and the device orientation. Now that's just the start. Like once you have, let me kill that. Once you have JavaScript reaching inside a .NET method, you can do absolutely everything else that .NET MAUI can. So you want to pull up a camera, you want to pull up, the photo library, you want to do anything, any APIs that .NET MAUI knows, you can.
This is so cool. Oh,
So,
Sam, question. Do you use a manager for your .NET versions on your Mac? No, wait, no? What? Is that not allowed to know? What's secrets?
No, it's fine, but I don't. And sometimes things get a little crazy. So let me show you.
Is there one? Or is there not one? Like when you install things, do you use Homebrew to install .NET things or no? You don't go there.
You use the .NET CLI. That's going to grab you the latest .NETs. And then everything in .NET is a workload.
Right.
So you can just do a
well, because like on the workloads, you can use the .NET CLI. But when you need to update .NET itself, do you just download it online or do you, because you could use something like Homebrew.
You could, but I'm just used to, if I'm looking for like, .NET 7, I'll just, go up.
You'll just go and download it? There's gotta be a better way.
Yeah. I mean, I like my CLI, but I'm just not so hardcore that I need to.
That you have to have, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So, I'm sure these like installers, like you can get them from like Homebrew.
So
it's just
go back to your terminal and show me, like, how do you check what version you're on?
Yeah, so that gets a little crazy at times.
It does?
So let me show you what...
you just say version and then it tells you?
So this is... hold on. So let's also pull up...
Can you like list? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh.
So these are all the .NETs I have, right? And when I say .NETs, right, these are the runtimes, right? So
hold on, I'm taking a screenshot.
You can do this yourself on your own.
I know. I want to make a note of it. How to do it.
On your Mac, inside of your local directory, there's a share, and there's a .NET, and everything is just a folder. Like I have blown away that folder. I have re-gotten .NET. You can, bundle .NET with your app. It's a nice thing. You don't have to have a system.
Every time you download, it likes to put it in there, or like you put it in there.
No,
it wants to put it in there. Because I think
Mm-hmm.
something that I did on this Mac that was bad was like I made my own custom spot to put it. And so then I have like these two different spots now, like where it tries to put it and where I want it to go, and it's this whole thing. So
you should be fine putting it where you want, except now going forward, all of the global .NET tools, they are used to finding that .NET over there. So now you have to adjust all of them to point it to a different.
Okay, so I'm not going to do that anymore because that's really like, what's the point? I will let it put it where it wants. I guess I was trying to put it where all my JavaScript stuff is. I was like, go over there, and it was like, why? And okay. I'm with
Okay,
you.
now in here, do you notice something interesting though? I have all the .NETs starting from 3.1 to 5 and 6 and so on. But I do have .NET 7. So you see that .NET RC 7 RC1 build 22431.
It's not out yet, right? Like, what is it, November?
No, it's out. No, well, .NET 7, we call it GA, general availability is November,
Okay.
but we are at RC1, which is release candidate 1.
Right.
And so you can get the latest bits, and then there's likely going to be release candidate 2 before .NET 7 comes out.
How do you tell it to be like, because you're on 401, but let's say you needed to be
Yes.
on 400. Did you say
Yes.
like .NET use or something, or switch,
Yes,
or publish?
and there are a couple of commands in which you can do that, but this is kind of a dirty hack. So again,
Oh,
don't be like me, but this
what?
is your hack.
What's the hack?
So you can actually put something called the global JSON, and you can put this on a per application level, or you can put it on a like I have this folder where I keep most of my projects, so I have put this file in here. So if I open up this file here, let's just do the text edit because I have a bunch of other things. So this is my global.json file. So essentially what it's saying, you might have a lot of .NET SDKs installed, but I specifically want you to go and use that SDK, right? So you're kind of forcing it to use a specific version of .NET. And you can do this
Who? Or
on a
forcing like your Maui Blazor hybrid app? Are you forcing it to use this SDK? Is it listening to this?
Yes, yeah, because like
Yes.
that application, I think, yeah, that app is sitting right here. So this
I
global
don't.
JSON
That's what
is
like. So you
honoring
need
that.
it. It needs to exist in the root of all your projects, like
No,
in
no,
your.
no. It can be on a per application level, but here I have the global JSON sitting here with everything else, all of my other projects.
So you
So
just put it
this,
in your development folder.
if you wanted to, because then this will have an impact on every app that's in that folder.
If you had it one layer up, would they not know about it and they wouldn't listen?
No, it might listen all the way up to your root home directory. So
Oh,
it is looking for a global JSON file starting from your app directory to all the way up to your root.
okay.
And based on where you put it, you're going to affect just one app or any number of
So
apps.
you're really saying all you'd have to do is update your version 7, and then the next app you start up, it's going to look at that?
Yes, I mean, if I take out this file, then
Yeah.
it doesn't need to know. So, case in point, here I'll show you this. So, this is remember that this is pointing to a specific SDK version, right? But I have other projects like I think. Let's see, where was I doing stuff here? Oh, Maui now has maps, which is a beautiful thing. Where did I keep the maps project? Because essentially what it's trying to look for is if you look inside any .NET MAUI project, it has these target frameworks, right? So the target frameworks essentially tell .NET MAUI, like, here are all the places where I can run. So when I'm doing a build, I'm literally saying, give me .NET 6 iOS or give me .NET 6 Mac Catalyst or Android. Here, I can just change it to .NET 7, and then
Yeah.
it starts running on .NET 7, but I
Do
will
you
have to
have to
take.
be specific though? Like, can you say net 7-iOS, or do you have to say net 7.1-RC? La, la, la? Like, can you just say 7
No,
or?
you can just say 7.
Oh, okay.
Because that's more like a named framework. You don't have to be specific about which one.
Cool.
All right, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
So a couple of complicated things maybe to kind of keep in mind, but the only thing that matters here is you start up with the .NET MAUI project and you let it, with the Blazor template, you let Blazor do its thing. At least that's the way I am doing it, because I want to reuse that JS interop. If you don't like that JS interop, then you'll have to do that massaging a little bit by yourself to figure it out. But essentially, this is our glue, so that from JavaScript, I can call .NET methods, because that .NET object is being filled in. And then once I can call .NET methods, I can do anything else inside of my app.
Okay. I'm excited to try this. Fuel's asking about the to-do app. That's exactly what because
Let's do
before I'm
it.
going to Poland in 2 weeks, and before then I want to have something up on the App Store. So I think I'm going to just do an Angular to-do app, but I would like to like save it to the file system or something. So
Yeah.
with Maui Essentials, on like API calls, I just go to the Maui docs and look
So
for
yeah, let me show you
like
that.
how do you like I would look for like file system or something.
Yeah, now this is where some of the stuff has made it over, but some may not have. Let me check. Where do they have stuff here? Tutorials, fundamentals. Platform integration is something different.
Is it
maybe,
triggers or
maybe they
no?
do device features. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is.
Oh.
So you can do all of this. So I was doing
Display
device display, right?
information.
So you can do device width, device density, rotation,
What is a
refresh rate.
sensor?
What is a sensor? What sensor?
It
Where do you see
says
sensors?
device sensors.
Oh, there are loads of sensors.
What is a sensor for what?
Sensor speed. Accelerometer is a sensor. Barometer is a sensor. Compass. Shake. You can do the
the shake to undo. I love that.
Gyroscope, and then the vibration thing.
What if I do just shake to undo, Sam? Like for the to-do app, like, and that way, anytime my Angular app is like, it's like listening for that. You think that would be a good one?
So that would be.
So it's under sensors. Ooh.
I think you might even do a vibrate. Oh no, I mean the vibrate is actually going to be a vibration. You want a shake, a true shake.
Yeah, well, I just want, like, when I shake my phone, it'll give me the alert that says, "Do you want to undo?" Do you want to?
That might be.
Didn't you say that was there? It was under
compass shake. Okay, so you will do a shake. Yeah. So you will come in, turn on compass.
Shake detected. Yeah.
So it's trying to get you a random text once you do a shake. So
cool.
Yeah, you can reuse a lot of this in how those APIs are being used. I'm excited.
Okay, and this would be, so this is the hard part. On this.
So
do I do it on the C# side, or couldn't I do that all in JavaScript?
No. This has to be C# because these are MAUI APIs.
Okay, so when I'm like touching stuff with the actual device, that logic belongs with C# is what you're saying?
Yes. Because essentially, let's just say you want to know. Let's this media picker is a good example. Hey. shake it. So this media picker here is a loaded API because it does things like camera, and it gives you access to the photo library and all of that. So just the way like this one is working, like media picker, you would not have that object unless you are inside of a MAUI app. So this has to be in C#. As long as you can call into that take photo method, mark it JS invocable, and then call it from JavaScript, you're good. But this has to be
I need to have a, like, in the C# I'm listing for shake, and then when shake happens, I like fire off an event, and that's going to then tell Angular like an alert needs to happen, and then it can handle the Angular side can handle the undo. No? You think you do the alert on the C# side?
It's just easier because like you have the event right there on the C# side. But if you would rather do like the action of that shake, if you rather have it in Angular code, then you will have to create like a custom method and just bump it up to Angular so Angular can listen to it.
Okay, I am so excited to try this. This is so cool, Sam.
Yeah, Aztec, good to see you online. It's like it's like different. Like once you've seen a person in person,
and
then you meet them online. It's like,
and you see him in the chat. You're like, I got a face for that person. That's funny.
Oh, and I felt so ashamed because like this was a conference well, Alyssa, me, and a whole bunch of us, we were at a conference in Boston. This was DevReach, Progress 360, and Aztec Consulting walks up to me. I think it was the hotel lobby. I was like, you do
not get to feel bad about this. Have you seen his avatar online? He's got the headset on, the VR headset. So he I've at no point have seen his entire face.
Well, no, it's not just, I mean, I knew kind of how he looked because like he's posted pictures of himself like on flights and other things. I just drew a blank on his first name. You are Aztec? I just don't hear.
Listen, I think it's totally acceptable to call people by their handles. I think it's perfect. Man, we got to wrap though because we got a video to go record.
Yep. And I also have to get a kid off the school bus.
Yay, a baby! Aww.
Yeah.
But thanks everybody for hanging out. And thank you for showing us this. I'm excited to try it out in my to-do app. And I think I'll make that my plan for next week is to, because I've got to get this thing shipped. I hear the App Store takes a hot second to like accept.
don't use anything that Apple might freak out over.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
The first
they're
thing
very
I got
sensitive.
flagged for was that I had the word demo in my description. They were like, we do not allow demo apps in the App Store. And I was like, so
That's
yeah,
not true. We put all types of demo apps. We just
they
can't call
not
it
if
demo.
you label it a demo. If
Yeah,
you
don't
label
call
it
it
a
a
demo
demo.
app, they're like,
Mhm.
we got flagged once because they said you could do this in a web page.
This is a hot topic.
What?
Because Apple does not like apps which are essentially, okay, so this whole Webview thing we have talked about, a lot of people have tried updating their content because they're pulling it from, from a source and just rendering it in a Webview. Apple does not like that too much.
Okay. So just be careful with how I describe my to-do app. I'm going to be like a very, very cute to-do app. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Just to get it published. Well, cool. I'm super pumped. Let's do a wrap and then we got to go record. But we love you all. Thank you for this fun afternoon or morning or night, whatever time it is for you. So
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Bye.